Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we are back in Era 1. We are on Desful and we are in the M48A5PI. Now the M48 is the top Era 1 medium on the Western Alliance. For the Americans, I mean. British is in there as well. This is American. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what needed to happen in order for me to 3-mark the M48. Now my strategy, typically on Desful, is to head straight to the middle. It is to head straight to the centre town, because from there I can get a good idea of where the enemy team is going, I can get a good sense for where I need to be, and if you've got free reign of the high ground, you can pretty much get shots in on, I'd say, 80 to 70% of the map. That's what my plan is. Now, obviously, you can have the best plan, but sometimes the enemy team has their own plan, and that sort of causes you problems. One of the first problems you normally run into is right about now. You normally spot the enemy team pushing up the opposing ramp to get into the town. But fortunately for me, that isn't what I faced. And from memory, I believe I have control of the town this entire game. Now, checking over to the southern end of the map there, that is a favourite of mine, because typically you see light tanks and fast mediums making a rush across the K line to try and get to the low ground in the river, stream, whichever you want to call it, roughly in K8. That's normally where you find people. That's the position they're rushing to. Now, one of the advantages of having a tank that is slightly taller than the others is you can see over this piece of, well, this roof. This isn't a structure that can be destroyed. So, if like I am playing here, if you've got the height, you can peek over it, and you are hull down. And that makes it very difficult for the enemy team to put return fire in on your position. If you play this position, you are completely exposed. So I don't recommend that, but you know, you've got to play where you can. There's no way I could have had a shot on that IS-4 if I'd stayed where I was. We're in Era 1. Not famously, I would say recently, there has been some conversation around the playability of Era 1, and the 4005 being the vehicle that is notorious for causing people problems in Era 1. And I didn't get the memo that Era 1 is unplayable because of the 4005. I didn't get that memo, so I guess I'm missing out on the 4005 problem. Or problem, I should say. I have absolutely no issue with the 4005. Even after the nerf, even before the nerf, I had no problem with it at all. This replay is taken from 2 days after the nerf. But still, I mean, I still got the M48 all the way up to 2 marks with the 4005 in the game as it was. Now, that's one of the reasons why I don't really have a problem with it. It's never been a problem for me. I've 3-marked other tanks in Era 1, mediums, lights, heavies. Sorry, no, not heavies. I haven't 3-marked any heavies. I take that back. I've played a variety of vehicles in Era 1, and I've never had any problems. So I'm gonna let you guys decide. It's up to you, but don't be swayed by anybody else saying that Era 1 is unplayable. If you think it's unplayable because of the 4005, I think that may be a skill issue, which no one likes to hear. But also, you've got to make your own decisions. Don't just go off what somebody else says. Don't go off what I say, necessarily. Go off, play Era 1, and make your own decision. But I'm hoping that me showing you a replay of 3-marking an Era 1 medium gives you guys hope that, you know, it can be done. Era 1 is not unplayable like some people claim, you don't need to skip Era 1 entirely. You can have I have a huge amount of fun in Era 1. Now back to this replay. The game is still very, very close. We've just gone over the 5-minute mark, and the teams are still at 10 versus 11. And that is one of the reasons why I like Era 1 so much. Normally, Era 2, Era 3, the game would be over by now. But in this game, both teams have only lost 1/3. And I like that. I like the fact that I can play Era 1 and I've got to think more. I've got to think about where my team is. I've got to think about where the enemy team is. I've got to think about positioning. I've got the time to slow it down and play more tactically, which I really, really like. Now, my platoon mate here is in a little bit of a pickle. I think at this, I don't think we see it, but I think he was on like 40 hit points. Yeah, flash past there. 43, I think it is. So I'm spinning around to try and provide him with support. There is I think there's a 4005 down here, and I didn't see what that. I think that was the British Premium Heavy, the FV4201 or something like that. The one that you don't see very often because it's, well, if we're being honest, it's not brilliant. In World War II, it's a medium, but in Cold War, it's a heavy. And I think I preferred it as a medium, to be honest. But hey, Wargaming have introduced... They introduced it as a heavy. There are two variants. Hopefully I'm talking about the right tank here. There are two variants of that FV T95. There's one with a skin that's got sandbags and barbed wire all over it, and there's the other version that's just plain, no 3D cosmetics on it at all. But they're both identical. You could get one or the other and have the same vehicle. And I'm completely wrong about what I'm talking about, because that's a Centurion 5.1. I knew it was British, so there you go. You've had a little bit of info about a premium heavy in Era 1 that isn't even in this game. See, there you go. There's the variety in the content. So my platoon mate down there is still in a pickle. There is a one-shot 4005 there, which is priority to take out, which is exactly what I do. And I believe there's another 4005 down to... my teammate's gone. Platoon mate's gone. T95 got him. All right. I believe there's another 4000. No, that's the T95. That's the 4005 with the 3D skin on it. So I'm loading high explosive, so we can poke him in the turret. But this guy clearly knows what he's doing. He's not going to drive all the way up and expose his... Well, it would have been the side of his turret because he can't traverse all the way around. But we get a high explosive round into the second 4005 that's down there. And this is where the pressure starts mounting on me. Two 4005s closing in. There's an E3 that is pulling up here too close for comfort. There's another T95 E3 at the bottom of the hill. The smoke, I believe that's not my smoke, obviously. T95 E3 is gone. But this is where the game... I start making mistakes. Up until now, I've been very careful. I've been very calculated with my shots. But this is where things start to fall apart slightly. So we've got a 4005 up here. Shot goes in. It is what it is. And now I've got high explosive loaded just so I can take care of him. And this is where I make the mistake. I focus too much on trying to take out the big gun. And I'm dead. I should not have peeked that. I wasn't aware that there was an IS-4 down there, but that's not really the point. That doesn't matter. I was too focused on trying to take the big gun out of the game, trying to focus on the 4005 because he was reloading. But there we go, 5,998 damage. That was enough for the 3 mark with 1,716 assist. That was a pretty good game, and we 3 marked the M48. So there you go. That is what it takes to 3 mark the M48. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't despair. Please play Era 1 because it is an amazing part of this game. That battle was 13 minutes and 44 seconds. It's not very often you get games of that quality with that length of playtime. That is one of the reasons why I absolutely love Era 1. And the 4005, whatever you make of it, it can be dealt with. Skill issue. Sorry to say it. Alright, there you go guys. That's all I've got for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like. If not a dislike, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one.